Hey shooters, welcome back to the Shooters Resource Channel. Today we're going to be looking at the BCM RECCE 14.5. This has been a gun that I've had for a while now. I've got somewhere around about 1,000 rounds through it. So let's do a review. But before we get started, go ahead and take a second, hit that like and subscribe button, support the channel. Alright shooters, I'm not going to go over the ergonomics of the AR-15 platform because it's such a prominent platform. But what I will talk about is how I set this rifle up, because it is a BCM upper, it is an arrow lower, but all the other parts in the gun are BCM, which, you know, I've really had a lot of good luck with this gun and this setup. So it's definitely my favorite AR setup that I've had so far. So let's go through kind of how I built this gun, and I built it a couple years ago, but this has kind of been my go-to. All right, first off, let's talk a little bit about the upper receiver from BCM. A few things to point out is this is a 14.5-inch barrel length, but it has the flash hider pinned and welded to the barrel, making it an overall length of 16 inches and legal as a rifle. It has an M-lok 13-inch handrail that's really narrow and easy to get a hold of. I really like this design. It works well. I'm a fan of the M-lok design, but I think key mod works fine too. But it's just a great handrail coming right out of the box on the rifle. You will find that it does get a little warm when you're running fast, so just be prepared for that if you plan to go out and do a lot of shooting in a rapid fashion. The chamber on this gun is 5.56 NATO, which is really important because it accepts the higher pressures of the 5.56 cartridge. The actual flash hider that's pinned and welded on this upper receiver, the one that I selected, they have a couple different choices, but I selected their A2X, which is just an extended A2 flash suppressor. It's permanently installed on the barrel, but for me, it was a little bit lower cost option, but it still runs really well and I have no complaints with it. Looking closer at the barrel, this barrel is completely mil-spec. It's rated to 70,000 PSI. It's been, torture tested on a lot of videos, but even BCM puts it through a really tough test, and they're able to mark it with the HP, MP markings to show that that gun can handle those higher pressures, and it's really robust. They talk a lot about on their website on how you get an extended life out of it, and I've heard nothing other than that from other reviewers that really run a lot more rifle rounds than I do. Again, I've got about 1,000 rounds for this gun. I haven't had a hiccup. I really haven't cleaned it, and it's just ran flawlessly. Some of that could be due to the chrome bore and chamber, which really helps with reliable feeding and extraction of the cartridges. And it's a nice touch from BCM. The barrel has a 1-in-7 twist rate, which is fine by me. I've gotten really good accuracy out of this gun, and I predominantly shoot 55 grain rounds out of it. So no problems there. Majority of the shooting that I do with this gun, though, is relatively close quarters. This is mainly what I use this gun for, but I have shot it out to 300 yards and had no problem making impact. I haven't shot it for like tight groups at 100 or tight groups at 300 because that's not really the application that I use this rifle for. However, I wouldn't even think twice about taking it out and doing some coyote hunting because I've shot some steel targets that are that size out at 300 yards. So it's a very accurate gun as well. I did choose to go with their 3x3 ambi handle in terms of charging handles. I really like the charging handle. It has the lever portion works from both sides. I don't know that that's really necessary. I think you would be fine with it just working from one side. But I did go with a little bit nicer charging handle on it, and it works fine. Now, why didn't I buy the complete rifle and instead of buying the upper, buying all the parts, and then putting it on an arrow lower? Well, it was primarily to save cost. Right now, in the situation we're in terms of gun availability, ammo availability, and high pricing, it might not be the case, but at the time when I put this together, I saved a couple $100 by doing it this way. And I've really found that the Aero Precision Lower works really well, and I think a lot of other folks that have built ARs and used Aero Precision parts will agree. So at the time, I got it for a really good value, and I've been very pleased with the Aero Lower. Now, when we look at BCM parts and what I purchased, I did purchase the BCM stock as well as their mil-spec buffer tube. And I really like the stock. It's worked out well. I decided to go with their green type color, and I think it looks really good. I've been very pleased with it. I also went with the BCM grip on the gun, and it turned out, and I like it as well. It's got a good, the right amount of texturing on there. I didn't have any problems with any type of slipping, as well as the BCM trigger guard. It's very well too. And then in terms of internals, I went with the BCM Enhanced Lower Parts Kit, and it comes with a lot of great value for a pretty low price. You get the pistol grip, it's their Mod 3 grip, and it's a really great grip, honestly. I can't complain about it. It's got good texturing. It's got a storage compartment where I hold batteries, extra batteries for my scope. The trigger assembly that comes in it is really good. It's polished at the sear surfaces so that you get a much smoother than mil-spec pull. And all the parts are mil-spec or better with these BCM kits. They also have like a nickel finish that reduces creep and things of that nature. They're using Teflon and other things that make that whole trigger assembly not too bad. Now, I had a 2-stage Geisley trigger that I ended up putting in here because I already had the trigger, and that's what I'm running in the gun. And the Geisley trigger is a great one as well. It performs, and if you're looking for an aftermarket trigger, Geisley's a good place to go. And I have no sponsorship through Geisley whatsoever, nor through BCM or any of the parts you see today. The only real sponsorship or contribution that I have is Greyman Tactical recently reached out to me and asked would I be willing to review some of their products. And I was very intrigued because I thought Greyman had a great offering to the market. I'm one of these guys that do a lot of shooting and hunting and outdoor activities, and I'm often just tossing rifles into the back seat, and I really don't like that. And Greyman gave me a solution to not only place my rifle in an organized fashion in my back seat, but also to lock it so that I don't have to worry about, if I had to leave my car to go inside of a store or something to that effect, anybody coming out there and just taking my rifle out of my vehicle. And that can happen. If it hasn't happened to you, it has happened to me, unfortunately, but it can happen to anybody. So having the extra safety of the locking mechanism is a great comfort for me when I'm carrying a rifle in my car. But the Greyman Tactical locking system has a quick release method that I found really convenient when I was out on the range. So I was very pleased with it, and I'll be doing a full review once I get a little more time using the Greyman, and I'll let you guys know how it worked out. But so far, so good. Now, one part I have on here that's not BCM is the foregrip. I think this is a Magpul foregrip, but I really like it. It was inexpensive. It's got the job done over the last couple years. So it's worked out really well. Of course, I'm running a Streamlight ProTac on here. This particular light will accept both C123s or AA batteries. So that's a nice convenient thing. It's a really bright light with pressure pad, and it's pretty inexpensive. And I've got a lot of testing with these, even submerging them in water, and having great results with them continuing to perform. For a rifle scope, I'm using the Burris XTR2. This is a 1x5 scope. It's got an illuminated reticle, external turrets, and it runs really well. And I'm using the burris mount for this. However, I'm going to have a new mount that's coming in pretty soon that I'll be running on this gun. The only thing I'm seeing that I don't care for is a little bit of rust right there on the locking lug for the buffer tube. It's not that, it's just surface rust. It's not that it's going to cause any like integral problems with the nut there, but aesthetically it doesn't look great. And for the price paid for all of this, I would expect a little bit better out of that locking nut there. But everything else has been really great. The gun runs really fast, especially with the Geisley trigger. But even with the BCM or a mil-spec trigger, you can run it really fast. The upper receiver does come with one 3-inch piece of Picatinny. So if you go out and you want to buy a nice rifle like this, a BCM or any AR-15, it's important to get out there and practice on how you intend to use it. If it's for home defense, going out and shooting 100 yards for group size and taking your time, that's not necessarily going to always prepare you to use your gun in a home defense situation or any situation you might imagine. So I also shoot competition, and I'd like to get into 3-gun pretty soon. So I also do a lot of drills based on that and how I can maintain accuracy and increase speed. And so I had a really good time. I was using this Cowboy Action shooting house out at my local gun club to run some drills. And I was very impressed with the BCM and how easy it was to shoot fast, to shoot accurately, how controllable it was. It's just a great all-around setup. And again, 1,000 rounds through it, and I've had zero problems out of this gun. It just keeps running. It's a gun that I'm going to keep, for the foreseeable future. It's definitely a keeper, and it's one that I would bet my life on. It's a great gun. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and take a second. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you can be notified when we release new videos. And I place links in the description for anyone looking to maybe buy some of the parts that I'm using here on the gun. I get a lot of questions about what holsters do you use, what scope are you using, what sling are you using. And so I've started including links for those components. So check them out. Go ahead and use them. They are affiliate links, meaning that I do get a percentage of the sale. It's a very small percent, 3 to 5%, but it's at no additional cost to you. So it's a great way to support the channel without having to spend any additional money. The links there are the ones that I've actually used and I trust, and so it's a good reference point for those of you who maybe are looking for some accessories to buy. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. And I really appreciate your support. As always, thank you all, and God bless.